And that's in the Black community as a whole. And so we thrust them into these environments where they have all this money that they don't know how to handle anyway. They don't have any people or role models in their life that they're willing to listen to, possibly even, that's going to help direct what these stages need to look like so that they are in position to even manage this newfound money that comes into their life. So you go from poverty to wealth in 2 seconds flat, and you're not even prepared to handle what that means. And then in 3 years, it's all gone. You'll be in a state of depression too. Forget about CTE, like you just be depressed. And so that's a natural state that they can possibly go to. And so how do we build villages, right? How do we start preparing our young men ahead of time who believe that this is the path that they're destined for? How do we start preparing them ahead of time to be able to handle what this looks like and to build some great financial planning around them to make sure that their money goes and stretches with them no matter what? Because it's not just in the adjustment about them losing the money, but if your identity is also tied to the football and that's gone as well, how do you help them to create a new identity and to know that they're bigger than the NFL, that they're bigger than the sport? So it's all these different layers too that we have to help these young boys be able to manage and prepare for.
That's good. And that's the thing that I think as you're growing up in Little League and you go through those things and there's promise. You know, and it's good that they these young kids, they have somebody like Deion Sanders. Hopefully, you have more coaches that are more like mentors, like Deion Sanders is. I don't know if that you have that, but you know, since we brought up CTE, a lot of people don't really understand what CTE is and how it could affect, you know, a player even post NFL. Dr. Charm, what's CTE? You are a medical practitioner. What's CTE? Dr. Charm.
We can't hear you.
You don't know how to mute you?
Sorry, I have.
And you're muted again, baby. You're muted again.
Oh.
No, you're good. You're good.
CTE stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And this is basically, it's brain damage, and it cannot be diagnosed until they have passed away. So it's only diagnosed by autopsy. So I don't know if any of you all saw that Will Smith movie, Concussion. So he actually portrayed the Nigerian doctor that came up with this or discovered it. But they cannot diagnose it until post-mortem because you have to have the brain tissue. So there's a theory that OJ may have had it. I would think that Cam Newton would be less likely to have CTE because he's a quarterback. So they don't take the hits just because the quarterbacks are usually protected from getting hit. So it'd be less likely for him to have it. But he was in the league for 11 years. And, you know, you get hit just once the wrong way, it'd be some situations. But like I said, he is a quarterback or was a quarterback. And so he would be less likely. But you're dealing with these athletes. They are subject to so many different kinds of injuries. Like I was, friends with the NFL player that won the Super Bowl. And one day he just showed me his finger was this. He showed me like all his injuries just on his hands. Finger was just like this. I'm like, how are you functioning? Like, how are you walking around like that? So yeah, it's definitely traumatic. Hence the name.
So Moya, what can Cam's transition from athlete to post-retirement life highlights the connection between identity and finances. So how do you think an athlete's sense of self is tied to their financial situation?
Well, I feel like Dr. Felice, the Be Big coach, would have a real good understanding of how those two connect. I think